Hey there, it's Victoria McCooey. So many women come to me and ask me, is my husband a narcissist? So I thought this would be a really great video to make for everyone out there wondering. And here's what I usually answer. It doesn't really matter. If they're portraying these characteristics, then they're somewhere on the spectrum. So first of all, a disclaimer, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor, but I have been through a marriage to a narcissistic spouse, and I've done a ton of research on this topic. And since that time, I've become a transformation coach, and I've now talked to hundreds of women who have also been married to narcissistic men, been involved in abusive marriages. I've talked to dozens, maybe scores of experts in the field. I've I've consumed a lot of content, and I've written a lot of my own. So that being said, I'm not a doctor, but I've done all of my own research on this topic, and here's what I've found out. Everyone has some narcissistic tendencies, and that's healthy. You know, there's a spectrum, and we all have to have some kind of narcissism and able to take care of ourselves. We need self-esteem. So it all depends on how far to the other end of the spectrum, to the place where it gets unhealthy, are you. Even doctors, even psychiatrists who are way more qualified than I am to determine whether someone is a narcissist are very reluctant to label someone because it's a gray area. So here's my point though. It doesn't matter if the label is, full-fledged narcissist. Here's the problem. If they're portraying these tendencies, if they have these characteristics to an extent that it becomes abusive, then that's a problem. So forget about the label. Let's talk about the characteristics. All right. So I do this with my clients. We go through and I talk about all the different characteristics that typical narcissists portray. And they are like, yep, check that one off. Oh, check that one off. All right. So we all can come up with a story or two where our spouse portrayed this in an isolated incident. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about consistently behaving this way to the point where it is a personality trait, right? Where this is what you expect from them all the time. That's what makes this an untenable situation. All right, so number one, lack of empathy. What does that mean? They cannot put themselves in someone else's shoes. They're just not wired for it. I don't even know if it's a choice that they make not to feel what other people might feel. I don't think they're capable. But it doesn't matter if they can or they can't. They don't know what it's like or bother to put themselves in the place of someone else. So they're way more likely to do something really hurtful because they can't imagine what the other person is feeling. So it doesn't bother them. All right. Does this sound familiar? Right. So I know you can come up with a million examples of this. I know I can. Number two is I've read that typically one of the main reasons someone becomes a narcissist is there's something that happens in their childhood, in their life, where one parent abandons them, either physically or emotionally, and the other parent overcompensates for that. So that's something to look back at. Is there an incident in your spouse's history where that might have been the case? So that can trigger, apparently, from what I've read, narcissistic behavior. You feel abandoned, yet the other parent is overcompensating to the extent that you're feeling the narcissist is feeling like he's entitled. he should be getting this royal treatment all the time. And entitlement is another one of these traits, right? They should have the best of everything. They should be first. They should, like, the rules don't apply to them. The laws don't apply to them. Parking places don't apply to them. They should be able to park wherever they want. They should be able to drive as fast as they want. It's ridiculous to them that a policeman would give them a speeding ticket. The nerve that they would do that. Well, they're entitled to do whatever they want, whenever they want. You've cooked an amazing dinner, but he wants to go out, and that's like, why would that upset him? Who cares? That's what he wants. That's what he should get. I'm just making this up, but you see what I mean. What I want, when I want it, and that's just the way it should be, with no empathy for what that does to the other person, but also that entitlement that I should get whatever I want, which leads to the next one, which is grandiose behaviors and ideology. They believe they are superstars, better than everybody else, more important. Their ideas are far superior to anyone else's. Are you going, yes, that's exactly it. I know I am. That is exactly it, right? Any idea I have is by definition better than your idea because it's my idea. I shouldn't have to listen to anything anyone else says because my idea will always be the best, the smartest, the thing we should do. So that's this grandiosity, that they're the best at everything. Others are only as valuable to them as what they can give to them, right? So other people are only good in as far as what they can do to promote the narcissist, to make him either feed his ego, make him feel better, give him money, give him things. Like, other people are of absolutely no use to him unless there's something in it for him. All right, so others are only as valuable as what they can give back, either physically or emotionally or psychologically, to the narcissist. Dramatic. Oh my God, right? The drama. They're dramatic, histrionic. Something so small can be made out to be a huge deal. And the grandiosity of it, and, just the crazy drama that this is what keeps you on edge all the time, because you never know. You never know the drama that can unfold at any moment. Their family, including their own children, are possessions, which are extensions of the narcissist. And again, I am not a psychiatrist, but I'm educated. I've done a ton of research. These are all things I have studied and read and consumed over the years. I grew up in New Orleans. I went to the University of Virginia. I was a writer for 35 years before I became a transformation coach. I have enough intellect and education to consume a lot of content, which I have, and to deliver it here. So again, not a doctor, but I have done a ton of research on this. All right, so family as possessions. Their children aren't separate beings. Their children are an extension of themselves. So whatever glory or accomplishment the child might earn isn't the child's. It's only a reflection back on the narcissist. So if the kid is a super soccer player, that's a reflection on him. He believes. He projects his behavior onto you, others, but mostly the people close to him. So say this is your husband. He will accuse you of lying because guess what? That's what he's doing. That's what he does. He lies, so he is going to tell you you're lying. First of all, he will think that everyone behaves the way he does or thinks the way he does. So he knows that he lies about everything. So he's going to project that onto other people. Well, there must be lying. Well, why would he lie? Well, in the narcissist's mind, why wouldn't he lie? Like, of course he's lying because that's what he would do. And then as a spouse, he would say, well, I know you're cheating, or accuse you of cheating because he's cheating. He projects whatever behavior, bad behaviors he's doing onto you. Word salad. This is my personal favorite. Do you ever get into, it doesn't even have to be an argument. It can just be a conversation, a discussion about something. And it takes on a life of its own with the narcissist. The narcissist starts bringing in things into the discussion or the argument that are totally irrelevant, have nothing to do with anything on topic. Something that happened 5 years ago, something that he saw that had absolutely nothing to do with this, but you're trying to connect the dots because you're a rational person, but you can't connect the dots because they do not connect. And so it just starts spinning out of control. And you're stuck, right? You're stuck trying to understand the path that the narcissist is taking in this argument, but it leads nowhere. And so it just starts spinning into circles, and you can't even, there's no rebuttal, there's no argument about what he's saying because it's irrelevant. And so the sane person, the normal person, the non-narcissist is like stymied by this. It's like you don't even know how to react because you're trying to understand how it's progressing, and there is no way to understand it because it makes no sense. And a normal person will have to walk away, will have to give up, will have to say, this makes no sense. There's nothing there's nothing I can say to that because it's nonsense. And then the narcissist is like, well, I won. That's how they win. It's how they frustrate you. It's how they win. It's how they keep you off balance, which is the goal, to control you. So if you're off balance, if you never know what they're talking about or what they're going to say or what they're going to do, or, always walking on eggshells, which is the next one, they can control you and every situation. Okay, walking on eggshells because you don't know when the next craziness is going to happen. You don't know. He's plotting. Those gears are grinding. You can almost hear them. He's looking for the next thing to make erupt so that you're off balance. Are you just shaking your head? Yes, you get it. You get it. I know, right? It took a lot of years for me to get all of this information and figure out how they do what they do. But I have. They can't take any responsibility because they're always right. So, even the most cut and dried, black and white, their fault, they will not take responsibility. Here's my favorite, and this is from my own marriage. My husband at the time backed our car out of the driveway. I was inside the house. He got in the car, he drove out, backed out of the driveway, and hit the parked car across the street from us. And he came in livid at me because it was my fault. He said, I wasn't even in the car. I was in the house. It was my fault, he said, because I had made him so mad about whatever it was I had said or done earlier that he was distracted. So that was why he hit that car, because of me. Do you try to put it together? Someone like me, and most of the women I attract into my coaching programs are intelligent, are accomplished, are sane, are type A personalities, are women who are fixers. They want to succeed. They want to do things right. They're list makers, checkers, offers. They want to get everything right, and they want to be the best version of themselves. And so they're being accused of doing something wrong, and they want to fix it. They want to fix it. They want to be perfect. And how do you fix that? There's nothing wrong with you, so you can't fix it. You didn't do anything, but you're being told that you did something wrong. So it's the perfect storm, right? You've got the narcissist blaming you for something that isn't your fault, and you, being you, are like, how did I do that? What could I do differently? How can I fix it? Right? So it's like it's like this hamster wheel that you're just gonna keep running around and around and around, trying to fix everything that's not even broken. All right, the next one. He rewrites history and then believes it. How many times have you heard, that didn't happen? That did not happen. You are making that up. Or that's not the way the conversation went. This is what happened. This is what you said. And you're like, no, I would never say that. Why would I say you're not remembering it right, or you're crazy, or that is not, you must be forgetting things, because that is not, all right, not only is that rewriting history, that is gaslighting. That is gaslighting. It is making you question your own reality, question your own memory of things, question what happened and what didn't, or what was said, what wasn't said. You start doubting yourself when people tell you this stuff. And if you're an outsider, if this has never happened to you, first of all, lucky you. Second of all, but I mean, if you're watching this video, it probably has, right? But people who've never had this happen go, why would you think that? What, you would just go, no, you're lying, you're crazy, you're the crazy one. Like you wouldn't let it in, you would think. But this happens over years. It doesn't happen overnight. If somebody walking down the street that you didn't know told you your hair was blue, you'd go, no, it's blonde, right? Like, what the hell? But when someone has been working at making you doubt yourself day in and day out for years, it's like a slow form of torture. Your self-esteem starts getting whittled away, and you start thinking this person is right. Here's another example of my own. Being told I wasn't enough. It wasn't enough in any way, shape, or form. Now, if somebody I didn't know said, you're not as good as anybody, I would, tell them to go to hell. But when it's someone who knows you on such an intimate level, and it's someone who has created this crazy codependency, this crazy dynamic, tells you, in my case, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not worthy, you're not intelligent, you're not whatever, you're not a good enough mother, nobody likes you, your best friend doesn't like you, your mother doesn't love you, like this crazy stuff all the time, it sinks in, and you start believing it, and your self-esteem just goes, and now you're just a shell of a person. This is what happens over years and years of this kind of abuse. All right, where are we? The Scotch tape effect. All right, so this is what I call the Scotch tape effect, because here, I have some right here. When you take a piece of Scotch tape and you tear it down the middle, watch it, won't work this out. Usually it just keeps going and going and going in two different directions. That is how the narcissist functions. He is pushing you away, right? He's doing these god-awful things to you, saying these really hurtful things to you day in and day out. But his biggest fear in the world is being abandoned by you. So a normal person would think, well, if you wanted me to stay, you'd be nicer to me, right? So even in divorce, they will push you away, do these horrible things that are making you need to leave, not even want to leave, need to leave, and then they're devastated and must punish you for leaving them, right? So we don't understand. It's like, how can you feel both ways at the same time? Why would you do these things to me if you wanted me to stay, right? We're not wired this way. Nobody can explain this. You'd have to crawl inside their head, and God only knows what crazy tangled web is there and how to figure this out. But that's how they react. No rational discussion, right? There is no compromise. You can't have a meaningful discussion or make an agreement. This is something that comes up in divorce too, because there's no settling. That's not in their vocabulary, because everything is a zero-sum game. It's all or nothing. They must win. They must win. So there's no, okay, well, this time we'll do it your way. Next time we'll do it. And there's a great example of this in my own. So my son was having a minor surgery, and so, of course, we both wanted to be there. And it was too toxic I thought, for him, for our son, with both of us there, because the tension and, whatever, I won't blame, because I'm sure he would say the same thing. It was just like our being in the same place was too toxic. So I said, listen, for his sake, you stay here with him for 15 minutes, and then I'll come in and we'll switch, and then we'll do that until he goes into surgery. Because, somebody needed to be there with him to comfort him. He was scared. So he agrees. And then, of course, 15 minutes go by, and I go for my shift, and he goes, no, I'm not leaving my son at this time. The grandiosity and the drama. It's like, well, that was the agreement. There's no agreement. There's never any agreement. It's just whatever he wants, whenever he wants it, right? So there's no rationalizing. There's no coming to an agreement. All right, so why do I tell you all this? Like, just to bum you out? No, because knowledge is power. So look at me. I mean, I'm laughing about this now. Yes, it was a long time ago, but knowledge is power. I understand what made all that happen. It was a really difficult time, but now I understand the part I played in it, how I allowed it, how it escalated, and now I can impart that knowledge to other women or other people. There are men who are victims of narcissistic wives too. I understand that, and I'm happy to work with those men. But for the most part, it's women who are in these situations. So this knowledge that I can impart to you can help you skip the line. It will, you're going to be ahead of, shorten the learning curve for you. So this is what I do with my clients. We go down this list, and I tell them my stories, they tell me their stories, and then we laugh, because now we can see the narcissist as a cartoon character, right? They're just a caricature. They're wired this way. It's like a robot. You can't expect them to behave any differently. This is how they are programmed to act. We can predict their behavior. We don't agree with it, but we can predict it. And this is what my coaching is about. Because once we can predict their behavior, we can get them to do what we want. We can get through the divorce in a way that doesn't make us crazy or devastate us financially, emotionally, psychologically. Does that make sense? So thank God this happened to me. Thank God, because now I have a mission in life. I have a passion, and I want to do that for you. I want to help you get through this without the devastation that I had, that I went through. And look, nobody was helping me. It took me forever. I was a basket case, but I got out on the other side happier, healthier, and so did my kids. We're fine. Everybody is fine now. We're all doing great. So if that can happen for me, it certainly can happen for you with this help. So I hope you'll reach out. Let me hear from you. Comments. Go to my website. You can book a call with me, a free session. You can email me any way you want to reach out. And I hope I can talk to you in the future. Thanks for watching.